I thought being tired and overlooked made me more holy. That saying yes to everybody else besides myself or before myself made me more godly, more spiritual. But God never asked us to burn out for Him, to burn ourselves out for Him. That is not godly. That is false humility, which I call ugly girl pride. And I'm Melissa, and this is StrutGirl, where I share what it means to homeschool, work, and manage all the things that we do as Christian women with joy. So lately I've been talking a lot about burnout and just doing all the things with our jobs and all the things that we manage and how over encumbering that can be, how we can get frustrated doing those things. So today I'm talking about the antidote to that, which is self-care. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, but just stay tuned to hear what I'm actually going to say. I'm going to be sharing a personal story about self-care. I'm talking about identity, insecurity, and the lie that we tell ourselves that being invisible somehow makes us more holy. Okay, so when I was a kid, my mom used to tell me, don't worry about your looks, focus on your internal beauty and your character. Focusing too much on your looks, that's conceited and all of that kind of stuff. But what my childhood kid immature brain, what I heard was, honey, baby, sugar, listen, you are not that cute. You actually are a little ugly, okay? So don't worry too much. No, I'm joking. I didn't hear all of that, but what I heard was that I wasn't quite attractive. I'm smart, but I'm not all that. You're not all that. You're smart, daughter. You are intelligent. You're an honor roll student. All of that good stuff. Focus on that. Focus on being smart. Don't worry too much about your looks. That's what my childhood insecure brain told myself when she said that. Now, obviously, now as an adult, I understand that she was trying to teach me to focus more on my character and on my insides and not focus so much on the outer beauty. So I prided myself on not caring too much for myself. Even though I vied to be one of the pretty dainty girls, I used to watch movies with the so-called pretty girls. I spiritualized my neglect. I spiritualized the aspect of being selfless, of caring more for other people. And there was one point in grade school when I was a teenager, and this boy, he was teasing me about my looks. I was often bullied for being dark skinned and having big lips, having full lips, which is funny because people nowadays pay for it. But he was teasing me about it, right? And so I fired back at him. I was like, well, look, God made me this way. So if you have a problem with it, take it up with Him. And I just felt like you have to be super evil in order to say anything against God, right? Like, what are you really going to say if God created me and this is how He created me? So I was wielding truth, but I was wielding it like a weapon. I realized that I had a sense of false humility. I thought I was being humble, but I was really prideful inside. I believe that not caring so much about my appearance and being superficial made me somehow more holy. But what I was really doing was shrinking. I believed that self-care was selfish. But really, I was hiding insecurity behind service for everybody else, which I enjoy, but it was masquerading as a sense of humility, which it wasn't. It was, like I said, ugly girl pride. So obviously, you see that maybe you can't see that I am still overweight and I still struggle with gluttony, right? Like my life hasn't completely shifted and changed right away like that. But my heart has changed, my mindset has changed, because now I see prioritizing my health, my nutrition, my energy, my sleep. That is so crucial to me, because doing those things, studying the word, filling my cup up spiritually, mentally, and physically, helps me to be better for everything we need to show up for as busy women, right? For being a wife, for being mother, for our work. We show up better when we take care of our physical appearance, when we eat better, when we sleep better. My confidence changed, it grew. I knew, I understood what my mom was trying to say better. My kids respected, and they looked at me differently. Now when they see the joy that emanates from me and not the burnout, they're like, Mom, wow, you look so nice, you look so pretty. And sometimes it's not even something different that I did. I'm like, I'm wearing the same stuff I was wearing before, but they see it differently, right? My husband noticed the difference. My femininity is just on full display, and God's glory is able to shine through me, because self-care is not selfish. Self-care came from God, right? I finally realized that loving yourself biblically is not rebellion. It's alignment, it's obedience, right? God demonstrated this for us. Drinking your water, holy. Walking, holy. Studying your word, holy. Resting, God literally demonstrated that for us. Holy, biblical. That is self-care, right? So I wanted to make this video for those of you who you wrestled with this, or you're still wrestling with this, and maybe you feel like you are just supposed to smile and pretend like everything is okay and just keep trudging along and not take the time out for yourself. So this is my challenge to y'all. What I want is for us I want us as Christians to take back this conversation of self-care. I don't see a lot of conversation about self-care on social media, and I think that there absolutely should be. I think that we should be taking back that conversation and showing people what self-care really looks like, when it's nourishing, when it's stimulating, and it just does what it needs to for us to fill up our cup in order to be great. I wrote a 5-day devotional called Ugly Girl Pride, and I know it's not the most attractive title, and that's for a reason, because that's something we don't want, right? We don't want to have ugly girl pride, which is false humility. We want to have a sense of loving ourselves from a biblical sense. And so that's what I pray that the devotional that I've written will be to each of you. I plan to make videos about the devotional, so stay tuned for that. And if you like this video and you want more content about homeschooling and femininity, working, being in your career, then like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about self-care? Is that something that we shouldn't talk about in the Christian community? Where do you draw the line from too much focus on self-care? When does self-care become selfish versus selfless? Is it selfish for me to focus on making myself feel beautiful for myself and not just for my husband? Because there's a lot of talk about us being beautiful for attractiveness for our husband, which I don't think is a bad thing either. But is it a bad thing for me to want to feel beautiful for me? Is it a bad thing for me to focus on eating healthy and exercising so my goal is for me to have more energy so that I can do the things that I want to do, and not just so I can show up for my kids and be energized with them? Can it be both? Right? So I want to hear from y'all. What do you think about self-care from a Christian perspective? And I hope you enjoyed this video.